It's 10 million years ago. You're a small, anxious, fur-covered primate clinging to a branch, 40 feet up, because everything down there wants to eat you. You have no name, no fire, no idea what a Tuesday is. Your whole life is one thing, the search for the food that keeps you alive, fruit. And one afternoon, you bite a piece that's been in the sun too long, soft, sweet, wrong. A tiny voice says, "Eat it anyway." So you do. And for 20 minutes, the most terrifying world ever feels fine. That was probably the first buzz in our family tree. And here we are, 10 million years later. Billions of us, pouring fermented plant juice into glasses on purpose, calling it a lovely Pinot. With one ant who decides 2 glasses in is the moment for a very important family conversation. The same molecule that nearly killed your ancestor is the one you'll pay $14 for tonight. We invented the phrase, "I'm never drinking again." Then we scheduled the next one for Saturday. So here's the mystery. Why did we start? When did we start? And why us? Why is it a human at a bar tonight and not a horse or a hawk or any other animal? The answer is older than farming, older than cities, older than us. And it starts with a drunk monkey and one number that should not exist. Stick with it. Quick thing. If you like finding out why you do the weird stuff you do every day, subscribe. This whole channel is one long answer to that. A new one every week. Okay, the monkey. Start with a question that sounds dumb. Were we ever built to drink in the first place? For almost every animal on Earth, the answer is a hard no. Most creatures, given a real dose of ethanol, do not have a fun night. Their bodies can't break it down. The experience ranges somewhere between deeply unpleasant and dead. But you have a cheat code. An enzyme with the least romantic name imaginable. Alcohol dehydrogenase 4. We'll just call it the unlocker. Its whole job is to grab ethanol and take it apart before it wrecks you. That enzyme? You're still running it. Right now. And here's the part that should make you put your drink down. That enzyme did not show up when we invented wine. It didn't show up when we started farming. It showed up roughly 10 million years ago. That is long before our species existed. Long before any species you'd call human existed. A creature swinging through trees, millions of years before the first stone tool, before the first campfire. And around that exact moment, something changed in that ancestor's body. One version of the unlocker got 40 times better at its job, almost overnight, in evolutionary terms. So the question gets sharper. Why build a better alcohol processing machine into an animal that had never seen a bottle? To answer that, one scientist spent 25 years of his life. And the theory he came up with has the greatest name in science. Now, the obvious answer to why do humans drink is the boring one. Alcohol feels good, and we're weak. End of video, right? Except, and this is where it gets interesting, that can't be the origin, because the liking came first. Long before any brain could decide, I'd like to feel different tonight, the body was already wired to want the smell. You don't build a 40 times better enzyme for a craving you don't have yet. Evolution doesn't plan ahead for parties. So the unlocker is a clue. A fingerprint left at the scene, 10 million years before the crime. Which means the real question isn't why do we drink? It's, what was that ancestor eating that made alcohol worth adapting to? The taste for alcohol is older than the choice to drink it. The man who cracked it is a biologist named Robert Dudley at Berkeley. His idea is called, get ready, the Drunken Monkey Hypothesis. And it's beautiful in how simple it is. Our ancient ancestors ate fruit, mountains of fruit, the main calorie source for millions of years. And ripe fruit does something. The moment it gets perfectly sweet, wild yeast lands on the skin. It eats the sugar inside and breathes out a tiny bit of ethanol. Fermentation. It happens by itself. No human required. So for millions of years, every perfectly ripe piece of fruit came with a faint whiff of booze. And here's the genius part. That smell wasn't a warning. It was an advertisement. It meant peak ripeness, peak sugar, peak survival value, about to be gone. The ancestors who smelled that alcohol and felt pulled toward it found more food, survived more dry seasons, had more babies. The ancestors who found it gross didn't. So across millions of years, the pull toward the smell of alcohol got carved into the primate nervous system. Read that back. You were selected to enjoy the smell of booze. It's not a character flaw. It's a 10-million-year-old survival feature still running in the background of your skull. And they tested it. Researchers in Panama followed wild spider monkeys. The fruit the monkeys chose regularly came in around 1 to 2% alcohol, a natural buzz baked into lunch. They even found ethanol byproducts in the animal's urine. The monkeys weren't just eating it, they were processing it. So your distant ancestor got a gentle, accidental buzz in the treetops every single day with no idea what was happening. The relationship is old. But a buzz from lunch is one thing. Making the stuff on purpose? That's a completely different leap. So when did a fully modern human stop stumbling onto fermented food and start making it? Because that takes memory, patience. Noticing the grain went weird last time it got wet and choosing to do that again. That's not appetite anymore. That's science. The oldest hard evidence sits in a cave in modern-day Israel, Raqefet Cave, near Haifa. It was used by the Natufians, hunter-gatherers, around 13,000 years ago. And these were not simple people. They buried their dead with flowers. They kept dogs. Inside that cave, in carved stone mortars, a team led by Lilu found residue. After 13,000 years, the residue said, beer. Wheat and barley beer, made in stages. Sprout the grain, mash it, heat it, let wild yeast do its thing. And here's the detail that should quietly break your brain. This is before farming. The Natufians weren't farmers. Nobody on Earth was, yet. They gathered wild grain off the landscape, and instead of just eating it, they used some to brew beer for their dead, which lit a fuse under one of the best fights in archaeology. Did we settle down and farm because we wanted bread, or because we wanted beer? This is beer before bread. Brian Hayden's controversial argument. And the logic isn't easy to dismiss. You're a nomad. Life is decent. Why suddenly stop? Break your back, digging dirt, plant seeds, and wait months, gambling everything on a harvest. Maybe the answer is something everyone wanted to gather around. A calorie-rich, mildly magical drink. And it braids into the next theory. Alcohol as the original social glue. Picture a feast 13,000 years ago. A circle of people. A shared drink. Walls coming down. Strangers becoming a we. Some researchers think that's not a side effect. It's the whole point. Getting mildly, collectively intoxicated may have helped humans trust each other enough to cooperate at scales no other animal manages. There's also the least romantic theory of all. Water. For most of history, the local water could quietly kill you. Brewing involves boiling, and the alcohol fights off some nasties. So a mug of weak beer was often safer than the stream. Beer wasn't a vice. For a while, it was plumbing. So nobody started drinking for one reason. Calories, safe water, ritual, and the glue that turned strangers into a tribe, all at once. Quick one, because I'm curious. Of those, calories, safe water, ritual, or bonding, which do you think pulled the trigger first? Drop your guess in the comments. I read them. Now I owe you some honesty. The beer-built civilization story is not settled science. A lot of serious archaeologists think it's beautiful, tidy, and probably wrong. Reading 13,000-year-old gunk off a stone bowl and confidently saying beer is hard. Some of it could be porridge or grain that fermented by accident. And Raqefet is one cave, one data point. Good science hates a sample size of one. So here's where I land. The drunken monkey part, the enzyme, the 10-million-year-old craving, that's solid biology. The first intentional beer is strong but contested. And beer-built cities is a gorgeous idea that hasn't won the fight yet. But step back, because there's one more thing that isn't in doubt. And it's the strangest part. We didn't invent fermentation once and pass it around. We invented it again, and again, in places that had never heard of each other. In Jiahu China, people made a drink of rice, honey, and fruit around 9,000 years ago. In the country of Georgia, wine residue goes back roughly 8,000 years, the oldest confirmed wine on Earth. And the Natufians were brewing thousands of years before either of them. These cultures were not in contact. No trade routes, no shared recipe, no group chat, separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years. And they all, independently, figured out how to turn fruit or grain into something that changes your mind. That tells you something. Fermentation isn't a lucky accident that happened once. It's something humans discover every single time you give them sugar, water, and patience. Hand a human a bowl of fruit and enough time, and they will inevitably try to get a feeling out of it. So why did humans start drinking? The honest answer is, for all the reasons, all at once, over an absurd span of time. The biology pulled us toward it. The culture gave it meaning. And we have never once, in all of human history, decided to stop. If you want the next chapter, why we tamed fire, why we're scared of the dark, that's the whole point of this channel. Subscribe, and I'll see you there. So, last thing. Next time you raise a glass, feel the full weight of what's in your hand. You're running an enzyme a frightened little primate handed you 10 million years ago. You're repeating a ritual hunter-gatherers performed in a cave for their dead. You think you're just having a drink. You're running a 10-million-year-old program your monkey ancestors wrote, and you're calling it happy hour. So tell me in the comments, what's the most human thing you did this week without realizing it was prehistoric? Think about what's in your glass while you type it. Your ancestors would recognize the impulse. See you next week.